Oh, wow. Definitely not keto friendly. Definitely not. You can't have this when you're on a ketogenic diet. And for those of you following me and that are subscribed, you know I've been following for a ketogenic diet for the last 2.5 years or so, a cyclical ketogenic diet. In and out, in and out. I talk about carb refeeds. But why have I now, all of a sudden, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm no longer on a ketogenic diet. It's a little burnt. It's really good though. Definitely not keto. In this video, I'm going to break down why I personally am no longer on a ketogenic diet and why you maybe don't have to be if you don't want to be. So stick around. I'm not going to eat bread the entire video. I'm going to roll my intro and then we're going to get right into the details. Quick note, I am filming this video in front of a window with natural light, so if the color changes because of some clouds, I apologize. I really dislike when that happens because the color correction gets all messed up. Anyway, let's get right into it. Reason number one why I stopped following a ketogenic diet, because I wanted to. It's kind of that simple. I no longer, and this ties in with point number two, is that I enjoy carbohydrates and I like them. It's just a taste preference. It's something I can adhere to sustainably long term. I don't feel the need to restrict an entire food group for the rest of my life. Let's get practical. It's just what I like, okay? Period, because I wanted to. That's really the main reason. Everything else is just kind of extra sauce on it. Oh, wow. And just because I'm not, following a ketogenic diet anymore, doesn't mean I don't enjoy butter coffee. I still have this as my breakfast every single day. So good. So reason number three why I stopped following a ketogenic diet is because I mentioned it in the intro, is I had a really strong bias towards the ketogenic diet. When I got into this biohacking, health, wellness space, whatever you want to call it, I was introduced to it because of butter coffee and a ketogenic diet. That was my catalyst. That was the culprit for me embarking on this journey and even starting this YouTube channel, which is amazing. So you could say that the ketogenic diet has literally changed my life in many different ways. And that bias quickly became dogma. Anything that anyone said about carbs not being bad, about the ketogenic diet not being awesome, I shut down. And I need to be completely honest with you. I was dogmatic about it. I thought it was magic. I thought it was the only way. I didn't want to hear anything else about what anyone said. And if someone else said something bad about the ketogenic diet or said, something else works better, like I just, nope, you're wrong. No. Ketogenic diet is life. Oh, wow. And I realized that, and I saw it as a problem because it was blocking me from embracing different perspectives on different diets, on different protocols, on different things. So the third reason, like I just said, is why I'm off a ketogenic diet is I want to break the bias. The facts is that in terms of fat loss, which is going to tie into my next point, which is one of my current goals, it's not superior than any other diet. And so let me get to the next point. My current goal is to continue to drop body fat percentage. I want to still drop about another 7% while increasing my muscle mass. Now, I know that when I'm in a caloric deficit, I'm not going to build as much mass as I could as if I was in a caloric surplus, but that's okay because my main priority is getting that fat down to where I can be more, quote unquote, toned, shredded, whatever you want to call it. So that's a current goal of mine. And so what better way to break my bias, to break my dogma, than to do a diet that's really high in carbohydrates to achieve my goal? Then I'm going to prove to myself, right? I know it's proven already, but I'm going to prove to myself through my own experience that other things work as well. Now that's it. I could end the video right here. Those are the reasons why I'm no longer on a ketogenic diet. I don't want to restrict carbohydrates anymore. I don't want to restrict that entire food group if I don't have to. Oh, but carbohydrates aren't necessary. There's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. I know. That doesn't mean that they won't bring any benefit. That doesn't mean that we don't have to eat them. If you like them, you like them. And I like them. I like rice. I like, you saw in the intro, the handmade sourdough breads that I get from a local bakery. I enjoy these things. I enjoy raw honey. I enjoy eating royal jelly and these bee products. Super good, super nourishing. And that's that. So very just practical reasons why I didn't want to, maintain a ketogenic diet anymore. To be under 50 grams of carbs does take a certain lifestyle. It's definitely not a diet. When you go keto, it's definitely a lifestyle and you understand it. And I understand it too. I did it for 2.5 years, okay?
Okay.
So now for the rest of this video, I'm gonna talk about the ketogenic diet in regards to fat loss and why it isn't superior and why you don't have to be on a ketogenic diet if you don't want to. I want to be very clear. My points in this video are not in regards to therapeutic ketogenic applications such as epilepsy or seizures, cancer treatments, anything like that. Anything that has to do with a medical ailment or a medical application. That's not the case here. I'm talking about the average person, you and me, the good old healthy person who wants to get healthier, who wants to lose some weight or improve their body composition. I'm talking strictly body composition. Now, this first point really was a hard pill to swallow for me, but ketogenic diet or ketosis, being in a state of ketosis, is not magic when it comes to fat loss. There is no metabolic advantage to being in ketosis or to being on a ketogenic or low carbohydrate diet. There is no metabolic advantage when it comes to these diets, whether you're high carb, low carb, and studies have been done on this. Now, the reason why a ketogenic diet works for a lot of people and why it worked for me for weight loss is because for me, it was a way for me to maintain a caloric deficit for an extended period of time. The only way you can lose weight is if you are in a caloric deficit. Calories in, calories out. I know people in the ketogenic community do not like to hear that, and I didn't like to hear that either a year and a half ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. But your energy balance at the end of the day is what's most important for your body composition. Let's face it, you're eliminating an entire food group, and you're eliminating the sugars and the carbohydrates. Now, sugar in and of itself does not make you fat. I can save that for a separate video. But the thing is that when you do have sugar, there's a downside is that it's really palatable and it's really easy to overeat. And if it's easy to overeat, it's easy to bring in more calories and it's easy to be in a caloric surplus. So when you eliminate the carbohydrates, it's just, it is a little bit easier to be in a caloric deficit. And I want to make very clear from someone who was very biased towards the ketogenic diet, who was following it for 2.5 years, who started a YouTube channel based on it. The reason a ketogenic diet works for weight loss is not because you're eliminating carbs and it's not because you're in ketosis. It's because you are in a caloric deficit. But another thing that comes up is, what about insulin? Right? When you eat carbs, you spike insulin, you're gonna get fat. Insulin is not the devil. You do not need insulin to store fat. Matter of fact, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe a year and a half or so, I put a video up on Instagram. Here's a little snapshot. I gained weight on a ketogenic diet because at the end of the day, if you are eating more calories than your body is expending, you are in a net energy surplus and you will gain weight. There's a hormone, ASP, which allows you to store fat regardless of insulin. So you do not need insulin to store. Just because you spike insulin does not mean you're gonna start all of a sudden you're gonna get fat, okay? So just because you eat a carbohydrate, which spikes your insulin, protein spikes is insulinogenic as well, by the way. Just because you eat some carbs doesn't mean that you are going to gain fat or that's gonna be stored as fat right away. Matter of fact, the actual process of getting a carbohydrate, of consuming a carbohydrate and that being stored as body fat doesn't happen very much. For the amount of stored body fat that you take, that process of carbs to body fat is called de novo lipogenesis. That accounts for very little of your actual stored body fat, by the way, just to let you know. And the whole insulin model of obesity theory sounds right? Oh, we've been eating more carbs and sugar, our insulin is spiking more, and our obesity is going up. That's too simple. And the insulin model of obesity, the fact that they say all Americans are obese because they're spiking their insulin so much, has been disproven. It has, and I'll include some resources down below in the description. And a lot of people claim that when they first start a ketogenic diet, they lose a lot of weight really fast. That happened with me as well. Now, why does that initial rapid weight loss happen? Is a lot of it is due to water and glycogen. You are no longer eating carbohydrate, you're no longer retaining water, you're no longer retaining sodium because you're not eating carbs. A lot of that first initial weight is glycogen and water. And then after that, the amount of messages that I've gotten over the years of people saying, oh, I'm on a ketogenic diet, I'm eating no carbs, I'm eating very low carb, I'm not losing weight, I've hit a plateau, what should I do? Well, what happened is that you were you either lost a lot of water and glycogen in the beginning, so you lost a lot of weight. You thought it was a lot of fat, and then you maybe were in a caloric deficit continuing from that, but then your body adjusted to the caloric deficit. So now your deficit is your new maintenance. So now you need to kind of go further, and it's just a version of crash dieting. It doesn't work when you don't do it the right way. Now, a lot of people are going to ask me, I already know, what about your energy levels? When you're in ketosis, you get this mental clarity, you get this energy, you can go all day. And that's true. But that doesn't mean it's not true when you're eating high carbohydrate as well. So my current macronutrient breakdown, and if you're interested on how I'm currently calculating my calories, my macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fat, and what I aim for each day, let me know, and then that way I can make another video on it. But I'm eating about 160 grams of carbs per day at the moment, at the time being, and my energy levels are fine. I find that when a lot of it is placebo, it really is, but I find that when you get the light practices right, I talk a lot about blocking blue light, having your circadian rhythm in check, and not eating a bunch of bullshit canola oil, vegetable oils, these really rancid trans fats and polyunsaturated fats. Your energy levels can be fine. I mean, I've been eating moderate carbs for the last few weeks, and like no shifts in energy at all. The only time there's specific carbs that make me really sleepy after I eat them, and that is dates. When I have dates, I've had dates covered with nut butter a few times these last few weeks. When I have dates, those are really heavy for me for some reason. After I eat those, I will definitely get sleepy. But with other carbs, sweet potatoes, rice, my carbs are from clean sources, and I'm not eating sugar straight up. All my glucose and carbohydrate sources are from clean, usually whole food vegetables, some grains. I have some sprouted grains, I have some white rice, sometimes I have pancakes every now and then, of course from like clean sources. And I've been finding that my energy levels are just fine. There's no difference at all in my energy or in my mental performance or capacity not being on a ketogenic diet. Now, are there some advantages to a ketogenic diet? Absolutely. One advantage that I think it has over other diets, there's not many, okay? Remember, when it comes to fat loss and body composition, at the end of the day, all that really matters is your energy expenditure versus your energy intake. How many calories you're putting in, how many calories you're putting out. Now, I'm not here to say that eat less, exercise more, because that's kind of really shitty advice that a lot of people don't follow. If you want more information on this, please let me know. That way I can make more videos on it. But an advantage with the ketogenic diet that a lot of people find is that that it just makes, like I said, being in a caloric deficit easier, because you just don't have to think about this entire food group. I'm just not going to eat carbs. Okay, great. This whole food group is gone. You don't have to think about it. If you're eating just vegetables and these fatty or lean cuts of meat, you're often easily maintaining a caloric deficit. And also, fats are very satisfying. So a lot of people do find the ketogenic diet, when they're not consuming carbs or spiking their insulin, they do find a more stable energy. I find that to be the case both ways. High carb, low carb, doesn't matter. I have really good energy across the board, just because I think I have other things in life dialed in. Remember, it's not just about the food that you eat that determines your overall health, wellness, energy levels, cognitive performance, but these other factors as well: light, magnetism, all these different things. So if you find a ketogenic diet to be sustainable, you can maintain it long term, you don't feel restricted. If you find it that you just like it overall, then great. I'm not here to bash it. It's definitely a tool. Will I ever go on the ketogenic diet again? Perhaps. Let's see. Let's find out. But right now, I'm really extremely happy with what I'm currently eating, my current eating template, and my body composition is changing. I'm losing weight every single week. My muscle mass is increasing, but because I'm increasing slowly, but it's increasing because, again, I'm in a caloric deficit, so my muscle mass gains aren't going to be, super fast or anything, but I'm also losing the fat, which is giving me a little bit more definition. So I'm really liking it. And that's that. Now, each little point that I mentioned there, I can go deeper and deeper and have separate videos on each one. For example, sugar not actually making you fat in and of itself. Insulin not making you fat in and of itself. All these different things. Why energy balance matters. Why we should be mindful of our caloric intake if fat loss and body composition is your goal. So I know that this video probably was surprising to a lot of people, especially with all the butter coffee videos I have, and the MCT videos, and the this and the that. I'm not low fat. I'm still high. Like my macronutrient ratios are pretty well balanced right now, with about 33% coming from each macro: carbs, protein, and fat. But I hope that this video is well received among you guys, because I want to make very clear is that if you like a ketogenic diet and you're doing it, that's fine. No harm done. I'm not here to bash it. Like I said, I love it. I think it's a great tool. But we need to be very clear. if you're doing it because you think you need to do it and because you think it's better than anything else, that is not the case. And I challenge you to look into some of the resources I'm leaving behind in the description and to challenge yourself on those thoughts, on those biases that you may have, because the fact of the matter is, and it's been shown in studies multiple times, that when protein, because protein is the most thermogenic macronutrient, when protein and calories are equated for, meaning if they have if they have certain subjects, let's say they have half of a group on a low carb diet, low carb, high fat, ketogenic diet, and they have the other group on a high carb, low fat diet. If they equate protein and calories, there is no differences in fat loss, in muscle mass, in body composition. They both had the same result, and that's been shown multiple times. And I can link some of that down below. As I said, I hope this video was well received, and if you have any questions, drop them down below. We can go more into depth on this, about inflammation, about insulin, about sugar, about fats and stuff like that. Fats are still amazing. Again, butter coffee every day, the just super nutrient dense foods, these fats. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. I'm open to honest feedback here. If you enjoyed my style, if you enjoyed my content, hit that subscribe button. I can't wait to bring you more information, more content. With that being said, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't yet, so you can see more of kind of my daily foods or what I'm doing throughout the day. I will see you in next week's video. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.